what matters tonight is election night in November. That's what's going to matter. And whoever emerges as the nominee in Michigan is going to be running against Donald Trump in November. Yeah. That's who the campaign is going to be against. And the vote is going to be, in the Senate vote in Michigan in November, a vote to support Donald Trump or a vote not to support Donald Trump. It's going to be as simple as that. I would bring one spark of light to this question or this issue about the Democratic establishment. I'm never sure what that means when I hear it. I don't quite get it. Bernie Sanders has voted for Chuck Schumer to be the Democratic leader of the Senate every single time, every 2 years when that vote comes up. OK, so I don't know who isn't in the Democratic establishment if they're already a senator. But there is someone who can all agree, no matter how you define Democratic establishment, who's on the ballot tonight. And he's unopposed. And he's running for re-election as a senator in Virginia. So when you think about how much trouble is the so-called Democratic establishment in, I would say to you, tell me where. I'm like, what town are we talking about? Or what state are we talking about? And exactly what election are we talking about? And that's where you see that play out. But in most of the country, the Democratic establishment accused candidate is doing very comfortably. Yeah.
And I would also just say, whether or not that feels good to you or feels bad to you, I just think from a political science standpoint, this is a real sign of life in the Democratic Party.
Good thing.
The Democratic Party is having a big, roiling, out loud, above ground fight that is about policy and is about what they stand for. And it is both about process and style and substance. And it is really different people fighting about really substantive things in democratic means out in the open and letting voters make the decisions. I mean, that is the sign of a healthy Democratic Party.
Can I put a capstone on that?
Yeah, please.
Welcome to my Tea Party. Because that's exactly what we saw in 2010 with the base that had been frustrated going back to 2004 in that election cycle, as you know. And it manifests itself in 06, where there was the initial revolt. Then in 08, with McCain on the ballot, this war hero that everyone loved, and the party said no. Now, there's history a little bit involved there with Obama, but still within the party itself, that tension, they did not rally to support their titular head. And then, of course, when you got to 10, a lot of that rolled over into the Tea Party movement itself, which was about a party that no longer cared about the little guy, the little gal, the workers in the party, the men and women who actually were the ones who kind of...
that was the rhetoric about it, but the policies they were supporting were not exactly in that drift.
But that's the point. The Democrats are having a policy discussion between whether or not they're going to do, big expansive programs or not. Republicans, their Tea Party moment was about who we are, what we fundamentally believed and stood for. Did we believe in this idea of smaller government as opposed to big government republicanism? Did we believe in the idea of limited engagement overseas in foreign policy? But peace through strength kind of a notion. So I know this firsthand because I was in the meetings. So I know what they said and what they brought to the table in 10. It does change, though, and this is going to be interesting to watch with the Democrats, how much what we see now morphs into something else as this movement or this thing begins to take a little bit more hold.